Where's my, you guys steal my sheet? You said Harry's and the scores and... Oh, here it is. You think that's good. I'll talk about that. Anyway. I haven't seen him. We'll book it. Silence by 5. Who's that? Breault? Yeah, but all right. Yeah, here. You can give me that like a handheld mic. Awesome. Okay, folks, we're right back in it. So quick, I didn't even get a chance to order my cheeseburger. Welcome back to the start of flight number 4. And it's Chris Poole entering on starboard.
Holding below, down below,
and
holding below, up
Breault
below, up
on port. The American battle here. We're joined by a Ficker Cup skipper and crew. Tiana Whitty, whose father has sailed in the Congressional Cup a long time ago, back when I sailed in it, and Zach West, who's fresh from the Ficker Cup. I'll ask you first, before we get into the action, what was it like sailing these boats, and your first, I assume, Ficker Cup?
Yeah, it was awesome. First time kind of sailing here as skipper. We sailed here in 2022 with the Swanica Cup, which was very exciting with Tiana and his dad. So yeah, it's really awesome to get behind the helm and see what Long Beach is about.
Tiana, real quick, what have you heard about Congressional Cup from your father, who's obviously competed in it and missed the 60th anniversary? It's great to have a Whitty back here.
I've heard that he has some stories that he can't tell me. So I'm looking forward to hearing about those one day when I'm old enough. I mean, I'm 26 now, so hopefully it's not too much longer.
Well, let's just say it's a good thing we're not live today, but it's great to have a Whitty back here in Congressional Cup. And as you said that about your dad, I saw a few people nodding their head, which is a good thing. He's a legend. The stories are real. Here we go, folks. Into the pre-start. Poole having his way with Breault, who entered on port. Can she get out of this and get a start out of it? She's got 2 minutes, 33 seconds to do it. And building pace towards Coffin Corner, perhaps not the way to go.
Yeah, so Coffin Corner could be quite a dangerous area. That's this period that the sort of left of the pin end, the yellow and black buoy out of there. If you end up in there, it's really hard to come back, because when you come back, you do not have priority over the other boat. So what we're seeing here is Nicole just trying to kill as much time and see if she can kind of catch out Chris in the bad spot so she can kind of get a little exit and over towards up here.
A few years ago, I might have been surprised to say this, but no more. You can't catch Chris out on many things in match racing, particularly at this event.
That being said, Nicole's been doing an amazing job this event. She's doing a lot on the Women's World Match Racing Tour as well, and you can see that's really prepared her coming into Ficker Cup and Congressional Cup this week, so I'm really looking forward to see how she goes.
Can I just say the commentary sounds better in your accent? I might just, go have lunch and come back after the racing, and you guys let me know how it went. Everybody will probably enjoy that much more.
I have been told that I have a good voice for radio, or face. I can't tell. Which one is it? Voice. Great. That's probably a good thing.
You've got a face for the television coming up this weekend, but you won't be here. And if you had a radio voice, I mean, you do, but if you were on the radio, I'd listen to it. At least somebody's paying attention up here, folks. We've got less than a minute to go. Can Breault get out of this position with 60 seconds to the start?
It looks like she's in a bit of trouble here. She's stopped. I mean, actually going backwards, and now Chris has got some flow of his foils. So it'll be really interesting when he comes back. Nicole's going to have to give way to Poole as whether she can keep her speed and keep moving, or she'll park the boat and Chris will just keep attacking her all the way until the gun.
I think I'd almost just back up. But we don't have much time for that. At some point, the question is whether Poole's just going to let her out of this or go back for more, which he is. This is the final nail in the coffin where he might make it really hurt, unless Breault can get dip below the line and then across Poole on port and get a start out of this with 23 seconds to go. Can she do it?
Yeah, Nicole's only option here is see if she can kind of downwind cross on Poole, but it looks like Poole's really got her lined up. So what we might see is Chris push her into the coffins just here, and she's going to have really struggle to get out of the spot. Chris has done a very good job kind of controlling this pre-start.
And as you know in match racing, you don't have to be on the line at the gun, you just have to outsail your competitor. And right now, neither team is going towards the line. That was the gun. And Poole continuing to push Nicole Breault away from the start. That's not very nice.
No, not at all. But I mean, it's something what Chris does quite a lot. Just try and push you out into that coffin's corner. And Chris is just happy here just to kind of cruise along. He just wants to go when he's ready to go, not when Nicole's kind of in the worst spot.
Wait, and he got Nicole's bow just going slightly the opposite direction, and then he puts his bow down hard, accelerates. Nicole left with no other option but to follow suit as Chris gets his bow into some fresh breeze, and we're off.
Yeah,
Beautiful
so
start.
Chris is in a really strong spot here. Nicole's slow. She's going to have to wait until she's back up to max speed before she puts in the move in. We'll see her speed's on. Now she's going to flow into attack, and we'll see Chris match there just to cover and keep control.
Zach, how long does it take to get up to speed in these boats from your experience?
Good question. Well, we started the week thinking it only took maybe about 10 or so seconds, but by the end we were figuring out it took up to a minute, really. The final kind of 5-10% of boat speed takes a really long time to get going.
So we're going to leave Nicole chasing Chris Poole upwind, match number 1. Meanwhile, back in the pre-start, that was the 4-minute entry for Ian Garreta. On port from France on the left, Peter Wickwire from Canada to the right. He sailed against Peter in the Ficker Cup. He was so excited to have made it to the big show.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we've actually raced both these guys over at the Swanaka Cup. Not Swanaka Cup, out of New York for the US Grand Slam. So it's good to get to know these international teams. And in fact, our bowman is actually on Peter's team at the moment doing an awesome job.
Yeah, I'm secretly backing Wickwire here just because James Hayhoe's on the boat, and yeah, he proved himself last week, and Wickwire's not making it easy for him this week. He's doing a lot of the bow by himself. So.
It's not a secret anymore. You just told everybody. What do you make of the breeze now that it's picking up across the track? Which side would you be fighting for?
It's quite interesting, actually, because as we've seen over the last week, as the wind starts to build, the right-hand side seems to be more and more favoured. But we're going to kind of see this middle section here with not a lot of wind, so it's either side, really. But as we know from match racing, if you can protect the right-hand side, generally that's a pretty safe option. We can also see the barbecue going off from the start boat over there.
I was going to say, if you smell tri-tip steak, you know it's a righty, at least from where we're positioned. And if not, it's a lefty. Right now, to my eye, there's some strong, solid pressure to this sort of middle left area as it filters down, and maybe a few puffs off to the far right, and I don't know what going on here in the middle.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. It's kind of this like weird in-between stage of it's not quite filled in yet, but it's still just kind of getting its mojo going. We'll see over the next kind of like lap or maybe next round, we'll see it really start to fill in, and likely that right-hand side start to pay dividends.
These boats are a lot of fun to watch when the breeze is up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as soon as you get some flow of these foils, the things just light up and go. Especially in this light winds, it's all about keeping your speed, whereas now you can actually stop the boat and then restart and you're not in too much trouble.
Looks like they're hiding from us around the pier, boys.
Yep, this is where we get blocked out visually for a little while. How's that cheeseburger coming, Ryan? Both boats to the far left have tacked from the first match, and it does look like some pretty strong pressure over there.
Yeah, it's definitely picked up from like an hour ago. It was really soft just before, and now it's really starting to swing in. We're seeing this sea breeze start to really fill in now.
Yeah, the clouds are gone as well. You feel the temperature drops, that cold sea breeze off the Pacific comes in here in Long Beach. And the boats come back into view for us here on the pier.
So the pier is actually a really interesting sailing feature here. It's something that we don't often get in other venues, where if you can control that pier and be the one that closest in and get the other people locked into windward, like Wickwire is right now, it's a really powerful spot because suddenly they just lose all their options. You see Peter Wickwire trying to swing in behind. It's whoever can kind of hook into leeward of the other boat has a really great advantage.
Wickwire doing a few digs there just to try and get down into a start out of this. As the windward boat, Garreta's opened the door, so Wickwire is there. With 40 seconds to go, both teams are early. We're going to hit the brakes.
Yeah, so now we have Wickwire a little bit locked here. You'll see the bowmans at the front waving their hands, and if they're waving up and down, it means that they think they can pass behind. If they put a massive fist in the air, it means that they're in a little bit of trouble. So we've got quite a bit of time to kill still, and it looks like Wickwire's a bit of trouble with Garreta in the control.
Definitely going to attack. Wickwire does. And the big question is, will he get up to speed, dip below the line, and tack back before the gun? 10 seconds to go. Garreta simply time on distance towards the pin, maybe a second earlier or so. And here comes the gun. Both teams split. Wickwire to the right. Garreta left that wind up just a second or two late, actually.
And Wickwire very close in that boat there. He's done a very good job of just timing it just right. Any later, and he'll be in big trouble. So the interesting thing here is that we have both boats splitting off the course, and really it's just rolling the dice on who's going to come back in front of the other boat. I mean, Wickwire will come back on starboard, so that'll be good for him, but anything can happen here.
To me, it's a little bit of a left-hand angle right now. Lots of pressure to this lower left side. I like where Garreta is.
Yeah, I agree. I think Greta's in a pretty good spot here, but like Zach said, heading out to the right is a great advantage coming back.
She's pretty witty for a witty. Not the first time, come on.
Sorry, it's not an original one.
No.
I've heard it before.
Yeah. All right, 2 matches in play. Breeze picking up in this 4th flight back in the pre-start. Dave Hood again from the right. Rocco Attili from the left. USA versus Italy.
Yellow is
It's good
holding
to see
below.
both of them. See class
Holding
actors
below.
practicing their pre-start just beforehand,
Holding
and now
below.
the entry is back
Up below,
on.
up,
Let's see if Attili can get out of this lock.
Up. Aiming mid. Aiming stern. Up.
So the important thing is the boat on the left-hand side there is that they actually get back onto starboard. If they don't, then the boat on starboard, so the guys coming in from the boat end of the line can just go and not quite hit him, but really sell it to the umpires like they could hit him. Now with the new rule changes, we're seeing that it's less favoured for them, or you don't really want to be hitting other boats because suddenly it can go on you as well. This is something that we kind of brought in the last couple of years. We might see Hood trying to go round the bow here of Attili, and we'll see them, they'll start to then jibe round the front, and then hopefully when Attili then follows them round, they'll jibe back and then go for their attack again. So it's kind of like a set-up move we see here.
Don't think he could get all the way over and across there from Attili, so he'll tack to the right of the Italians, who put the helm hard over.
Yeah, so Rocco looks very slow right now, and Hood looks up to speed, so we can really see something interesting happen. We'll likely see Dave Hood jibe over and then go for the full attack again. So it's just like we had at the start. He's going to keep going until he can kind of kill off this last 2 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock.
And just a quick update, match 1, broken record, Poole ahead, of course. Match number 2 is close, upwind, Wickwire from the right, Garreta from the left. Remember, they had a split at the start. I'd be watching this cross quite intently if I was in the pre-start, or if I hadn't started yet.
So coming back to our match here with Rocco and Dave Hood. Dave Hood's got a lot of experience in these boats, right? He's the home representative for Long Beach Yacht Club, and this is Rocco's 2nd Con Cup, I believe.
Yep.
So you can see that with their boat handling. Dave Hood, he's not lost speed once, whereas Rocco's kind of struggling in those interim moments between moves.
So it's Hood looking good and Rocco looking a bit rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Meanwhile, up the track, just to bring you in, it was a pretty close between Wickwire and Attili, but or not Attili, Garreta. But starboard tack advantage helped Peter Wickwire, having a narrow gain in that. What that means is both sides are pretty even.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the kind of benefit of going right. If you're not too sure, you always want to go to that right-hand side of the course. You come back with that starboard advantage, and as long as you have a piece on the other boat, you're going to be ahead of the top mark. And you'll see that at the top mark very close when they came together, and Wickwire just in front.
How long do we have to go here, guys?
Minute 8 seconds here.
So Rocco's pretty high in the box, which means he is not really in the playground of where we want to be in the pre-start. He's got a little bit of he needs to start pushing to get back here.
And the risk is if he pushes too hard, he might get locked out and actually might not be able to start. So we'll see Dave Hood just trying to kind of edge on Rocco to try and go for that line. At the last second, he'll close the door and try and lock him out. So we'll see him start to turn up here and start the defense on Rocco's attack.
And here it comes. Rocco looking to get across. Hood looking to get a piece.
Clear.
Clock ticking down, 30 seconds to
3
go.
meters.
I'd really like to get across the bow. If I was Rocco, I would not want to hit that starter's boat. That would be very expensive.
2 meters blackout.
Yes, you might see him trying to swing the stern
Clear,
really hard.
clear,
And it's
1
actually
meter.
on Rocco here
Blackout.
if he hits the other boat. Now we've had a change of controls. Attili's now to leeward of Hood, so Attili now has control. We've got about 15 seconds left on the clock, so we'll see them just race down the line, and whoever can hit that line the best is going to come out really well.
I think Attili's going to get a good start out of this. Time on distance looks perfect. Hood is tight to windward and is going to have to tack away, and he does. One tack down is Hood. I'd give the start to Attili.
start to Attili, but looking up looking up the course, we know that Wickwire came out ahead, heading over to the right, so it'll be interesting to see how Hood comes out of this.
So, team, why would they tack straight off the line?
Well, there wasn't really an advantage to stay sitting above Rocco, as there's no way for them, it's not easy for them to get speed. So tacking out gives them clear air and better speed.
Exactly. So we'll see Wickwire and Garreta coming down to this gate mark here. Very tight match. So what they're trying to do is just try and get on the inside of Wickwire. So Wickwire's the one in the blue. And if they can get an overlap, they either try and lock him out for one end of the course here, the rounding marks at the bottom, or they try and get a penalty on the other team.
And Zach, I'm just seeing it looks like the Battle of the Swedes is just about to begin, so let's see who is the better Swede.
Bjorn Hansen entering from the left-hand side, sort of resurrecting his excellent match racing career.
Yellow is down below.
Berntsson, 16 Congressional Cups.
Holding below.
Yeah, it's quite an impressive rap sheet, but not quite impressive enough to end it in on time. So we have Hansen just nailing that start, but Berntson's a little bit late. We'll see if they can try and get a cross in. So the benefit here of the other team being late is if they can get around that bow, suddenly they can skip all this middle part and get straight into the kind of fight just to start really well. And skip out of this all kind of just playing around and killing time in the middle.
And getting away from, as far away from Coffin's corner as possible. That's where we do not want to end up. So, Zach, who's your money on? I think we should go 50-50 here.
Ooh. Well, the starboard boat always has the advantage, but, I mean, taking the Hansen kind of came through really nicely on his pin and start, I'm going to say Hansen.
Okay, that works for me because I look really good in orange, so...
I like having you guys. Very entertaining.
Yeah, we can chat. Don't worry. We'll keep you entertained.
So what's really interesting here is going backwards. So unlike fleet racing, match racing can actually go backwards with rights. So what's actually happening is Berntsson's in a little bit of trouble. We may see the other boat trying to drive the boom over and see if they can push him out towards the start boat, but they can't hit it. So it is an obstruction. So if they do get stuck, there is a little bit of an out here, but it's quite a risky scenario. So we have a major situation here with them jibing both onto different tacks.
I like
Berntsson with the rights.
Hansen got his bow down below Berntsson there, and it's a get-out-of-jail-free card. Beautiful job by the Swede over the Swede.
Clear half meter.
Yeah, this is really interesting. We'll see a bit of a jibe battle. I mean, this is going to be really close. See, the thing is once you jibe, you actually have to give the other person an opportunity to get out. And if they don't take that opportunity, then it's a penalty. So we may see, not quite sure what they held there, but I would imagine it would be a green.
And of course,
hear a whistle.
Poole taking another victory while this is all going on. The clock ticking down, minute 50 to go. As Berntsson springs to the right of Hansen. A little bit of a get-out-of-jail-free card there. He's done a nice job.
Yeah, for sure. But Hansen's looking slow and Berntsson's looking quite quick, so we may see a jibe and a final attack. I mean, they only got 1 minute 30 left on the clock, so this is really getting down to the wire here.
Is he going to have a piece of him, do you think?
It's going to be close. Ooh, this is very close. So we'll see if there's contact. If there's contact, it could even be on Berntsson. It's going to get very close. But Hansen is pinned against the starboat. This is very, very interesting stuff. We'll see what kind of occurs from here. They'll try and slow the game down a little bit and just kind of rely on their crew to get them out of jail. But this is looking very tight.
Coming up on 1 minute to go to the start. Berntsson boxing Hansen in there off the signal boat.
So Yoni's in more of a controlling position here, right, guys? So at any stage, Yoni can jibe around and free himself, whereas Hansen looks a bit stuck between him and the starting boat.
Now, this is interesting. If the boats get close here, who would you penalize? Because Berntsson is on port, tacking away. Now Hansen. Okay. Yeah, no foul there.
Yeah, so they both have done very well. I mean, both of them knew the troubles and the advantages of where they're at. So we'll see Berntsson try and jibe. The other one's going to have to follow here, but this is close.
He's done it. That's going to help Berntsson a lot because we've only got 30 seconds to go to this start, folks. Berntsson's going to head for the line. Hansen jibes in behind him. Green flag, no penalty.
Yeah, I mean, this is almost a race back to the line. We've got 20 seconds left to the clock, so I think, T, you might have been right here.
Yeah, orange has always been my colour, so I'm just really happy that they're going for it at this stage.
Blackout.
So just coming down, got about 5 seconds left on the clock, so they're just going to have to follow in here. So unfortunately, there's not much you can do here. We may see, like the last start, them just tack out before it gets really bad for them.
So if I was Yanni right now, I'd really want to be putting the match in match racing. So if Zach, if you tack off, I'm just going to tack on top of you and try to make your life as hard as possible here.
Yeah, 100%. Why wouldn't you? So I was actually saying right here's a bit of a dummy tack here. So kind of, I guess, undertake one of the Swedes, or the Swedes that we took at the start. I'm going to try and get out of here and try and break what's happening. So the idea for the back boat is to try and get the front boat onto a different tack than I'm on to try and break the overlap. And I mean, what's your aim, T?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get out of phase with you as well. But yeah, at the moment, now I just want to get back up to speed here and do a better job than you at being the first to be fast.
And you have. Orange boat gets the advantage, not only accelerating first onto port, but getting to the right-hand side and bow forward of Hansen.
I'm pretty happy here as well. I'm sailing out into clear air here, whereas, Zach, it looks like you're sailing under a lot of kites here, which can affect your air, right?
Is she always right, Zach? This goes on a lot with you too, isn't it? I can tell.
Look, he's not my boyfriend, but he could just say, yes, dear. And I'd be very happy.
I would have never known. Yes, dear.
Holding below.
This show's going to continue on, folks. We're going to start charging. Eric Monin from the left-hand side on port and Poole Tapper.
Okay, I am a bit of a Cole fan.
I think we're both a bit of Cole fan.
Yeah, we are from Australia, so yeah, Cole and I are bunk buddies this week, so...
Now that sounds like another story for another time.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Yeah. Anyway, back into the match, please. 3 minutes, 20 seconds to go. Cole to windward. And who's coming downwind here with the light blue spinnaker ahead? That's Wickwire. I feel like Wickwire kind of woke up the past two matches. We're seeing a different side to him, and I like it. I'm sure he does as well.
Yeah, for sure. When he's coming in hot off the thicker cup, he's already had, 3 days of non-stop racing against us, so he's just ready to go and rumbling, whereas the other teams are still kind of like warming up and just kind of getting into the swing of things.
I also think the maple syrup he chugged last night might have helped him today with that sugar high. So yeah, really looking forward to see how the maple syrup wears off over the day, or if it just continues to improve his performance.
So we see here with Cole just trying to kill down this clock. I mean, he is on point here, so he is the giveaway boat versus Monin. But, I mean, he's in complete control of what's happening. So we see he's starting to back out, go into port, and he's going to really line up that either jibe or tack back to try and attack Monin again.
And for those curious about having the start at the same time as these boat finishing, normal sailing rules apply. So the windward boats have to keep clear of the starting boats, which can be tricky.
Yeah, quite often we do see a little bit challenging. I mean, the race committee often does a really good job to try and separate the matches, but often there's nothing you can really do. We're all the same course, so sometimes they get really close, and we do see some situations happen.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, when Wickwire sails past, let's give them some love, guys. I know they're Canadian, but they're pretty cool.
Hey, well done to the Wickwire crew.
Go, James. Yeah. Yeah, so James on the bow there, just kind of joining Wickwire for this weekend. We won't take him too much. We might have to put a bit of interest on that line, hey?
Yeah, I agree. He's doing really well here.
Might have to be a bit of a cross at some point in the next match.
Yeah, I think so. And speaking of crosses, who crossed Cole Tapper at first today? Because I hear whoever crossed him first is getting TP'd, right?
Oh, with the toilet paper thing. You are paying attention. Well done. I wonder if he's got it on board, though.
Yeah, if he was prepared, he would, right? Or he'd have someone doing it for him right now.
Always have a roll of toilet paper on board. Again, another story for another time. Back in the pre-start, ADD runs rampant in this commentary box. Minute and 10 seconds to go. Tapper to leeward, looking to squeeze and hold out Monin. Monin looking to get over the top of the bow. We predicted when the breeze is up, Monin starts to slow down, and that's happened so far. Is he going to get across there or not?
It's going to be incredible because it looks like he's just got it in the nick of time. I mean, he's going to make sure he doesn't hit that boat. He's still got 55 seconds, so Cole's happy just to let him go and try and let Monin sail himself into a bad scenario. So it's not always about attack. Sometimes it's okay just to wait, slow down, and wait for a move like this, exactly like this. So Monin's on port, Tapper's going to be on starboard, and they're going to start that really big push with about 35 seconds left on the clock.
Monin slides around the signal boat there. Tapper tacks quickly, looking for a hook. Monin, though, bow forward.
Clear.
Ahead, you can see the bowman signaling. Cole Tapper doesn't have a piece of Monin with 20 seconds to go. Monin's going to get a start to the pin. Tapper will be to his right.
Yeah, so the whole point of there with Cole not really attacking very hard is to try and get some kind of gauge to windward, so that if they do want to come to start and hold all the way and try and block Monin's tack, they have that opportunity.
Yeah, and it looks like Cole's doing a nice tack here, just splitting out to the right. Who's your money on, guys?
Match 3 switching to channel 2.
I'm going to take Monin.
Yeah, I like that pressure on Monin's bow there.
Yeah, he's like good pressure out left and he's nice and fast off this line. I mean, we'll see what happens, but we see up at the top of the course, we have 2 matches side by side coming down, and we may even see our match even get into the way of theirs.
Well, and Yanni Berntson's in the lead of his match. The orange gear is still working for you there.
Yeah, I never doubted it, guys. I don't know why you doubted me.
It wasn't you that we doubted, but if you've seen that orange gear for the past 16 Congressional Cups, it gets a bit old after a while. Maybe mix it up, pick a different color, I don't know.
I was still in primary school, so I wasn't really paying attention.
Construction workers on the highway, you know?
Yeah, well, they're working hard today, so we'll see what happens.
So 2 matches overlap coming downwind. Just to give you an update, in the red spinnaker is Yanni Berntsson over Hansen, Bjorn Hansen. That's Hansen in the purple spinnaker. The Swedish match, if you'll pardon the pun. And then the orange Long Beach spinnaker is coming downwind is Nicole Breault out in front of... Oh, sorry, is that Dave Hood? We're going to need to update this.
Yeah, so the purple spinnaker here versus the red one, they're actually still in a really nice spot, sitting right on their air. And what we mean here is that they're disrupting the kind of like really nice air flowing all the way downwind. And if you can disrupt that air, it really slows down that boat in front. So you're making it just difficult for the other boat to try and extend in front of the other one.
It can be really tempting as well, being the front boat, to try and keep as much speed as possible. You can get really baited into coming upwind again, Zach, right?
Exactly.
To get a bit of speed.
No, 100%. And you really feel like just going really fast, but that fast mode can actually be really bad for you, because then the other boat behind is going to match you and they're going to be going faster. So suddenly you get closer and closer and closer, and then it could be too late by the time you hit the bottom.
Remember, Zach, yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
I'm trying, guys. I'm trying.
Takes a long time. We get there in the end.
Yeah, so we see Johnny running that mark first. We'll see if the other boat follows them or goes to the other gate. So the problem with following them, even though you may want to go around, or they may be the best course with the absence of other boats, is that you're suddenly locked in to be behind the other boat. So suddenly you have to kind of create something that's really interesting, or what we call kind of split, which is exactly what's happening, where suddenly you go from just following the other boat and going to where the best breeds in the course you think is, or you can split off the other boat and just roll that dice and see something just random might come down the course. We know sailing can be a game of just random sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I still think Yachty looks pretty good here heading out to the right, but I probably would have tucked back sooner if I was him, just to really defend and put, just keep the pressure on your mate.
My mate.
We say your mate when you forget their name. Sorry, everyone. So, yeah, Yanni's still extending out to the right, and he looks pretty good here. Tucker, is it true that it clocks right throughout the day here normally?
As it builds. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Dave Hood. Another victory for the local team. Well done. Long Beach Yacht Club. And yes is the answer. Yes, dear.
Oh, my God.
That's going to stick. It's going to make it all the way back to your dad in Australia.
So, dear, I think you're doing right. They're doing really well out of that right-hand side, so I think you might have been right all along.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate the support.
I know you guys aren't married, but one thing you learn when you are is even when she's wrong, she's right.
Yeah.
And when you're right, you're wrong.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to teach him.
Does that make sense?
I'm just the pit, but he should really listen to me.
You guys are doing great. Keep this show going, because we're going to start charging tickets.
So I know we're in California, but there is a lot of weed in the water.
So Snoop Dogg is not that far away.
Yeah, Long Beach, right?
I know where you're headed with that. That's a witty joke right there.
Yeah. Sorry, dad joke, guys.
So on the weed topic, we actually see quite a lot of boats kind of back out of it and try and go backwards to try and get off the weed or the centerboard. I know that weed can be a real favourite here, but it's definitely not a favourite on the boat.
Yeah, we definitely try to avoid weed instead of smoking it here, when sailing especially. But Zach, the other day you actually picked up some weed, didn't you? While on the water, I want to preface.
Yeah, while on the water, we'll preface that hard. It's really not great, because it kind of slows you down. I mean, it's slowing you down kind of both mentally and with your boat as well.
Yeah, it wasn't as relaxing as I thought it might have been.
No, definitely not. I was very stressed out.
National umpire.
This is something that was able to back down, get out of it. How did you overcome the lead?
Barbecue
He
snack.
literally picked it up out of the water and put it on the boat.
Oh, okay, that does feel like a little bit of a mistake.
Yes, I think we've got a photo somewhere. We might float it around social media a bit. So we kind of saw ourselves drifting into it a little bit, and let's kind of pass the helm off to my tactician and just kind of dived into the water to grab it before it got stuck around the boat. Because sometimes, as soon as it's on, it's definitely coming off, and that kind of can linger for a little bit.
There's a couple of people on this pier who I have been in a weed on the keel scenario with, and it's a real day killer.
I just want to say, for those that hire me, I've never met these two before in my life. I don't know them, and so I don't condone or sign off on any of the inside jokes. However, you're enabling me to eat lunch, so keep talking. It's wonderful. You guys are doing great.
It looks like we do have Monin leading Tapper here. I didn't see quite how it happened, but maybe that was just that side selection. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, so, well, it's really interesting here. So with Tapper being behind, the interesting thing is if he goes hot and gets on the outside, you can take the win, but suddenly you lose control. So it's a bit of a game. You kind of want to take that win and kind of dive down the inside if you can, and then get to the limit of the other boat and just use all your momentum. I mean, these boats weigh a lot, T. So it's really interesting to see what you can kind of do with these really, really big boats.
Yeah, totally. Being trailing closely behind the leading boat is actually not a bad position to be in. Especially at the top mark or the bottom mark, there's lots of gains to be made because that's where we make very big mistakes. So let's see if these guys can show us what a good kite drop looks like.
Battle at the front of the boats.
Yeah.
Really interesting. So as skippers, you kind of like come into this scenario with full faith on your crew. It's like who's got the better crew and who can get that jib up the best and drop the spinnaker the best as well.
Yeah, exactly. And something we don't want to do here is we don't want to go fishing. I like fish personally, but not while I'm sailing. It looks like the yellow spinnaker just went for a little bit of a fish there.
Do you think they caught anything?
Well, if they do, they better share.
Yeah, I think so.
Wonderful. Keep it going, man. It's burgers and this.
So we do see a split again around this bottom mark. So again, like the last couple of races, you'll see them kind of split off to either direction and see if they can roll that dice and hopefully you get a nice shift or some nice breeze coming down the course, and then suddenly you'll be right in front of the top mark.
Yeah, I'm surprised. It looks like Cole's heading off to the left. He did go left last time, which looked, he lost a bit of his place there. But Monen's heading out under these